cried the Sparrow.
You're listening to the Sailing into Oblivion podcast, where we sit down with everyday people who do extraordinary things. I'm your host, Jerome Rand.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's going to start with just one little statement. Or I guess a question. Sorry. Grammar. Pfft, who needs it? Is there anything that a boat can't cure? Question mark. End. It really is something. I've been on Sparrow here for just a couple of days and definitely feel centered, feel reinvigorated, feel a whole lot better than the day I drove up. Let's just say that. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing power that a boat has. I don't know what it is, really. Maybe it's just all the time I've spent on her. But I think anybody that owns a boat, big, small, little Boston whaler, big old motor yacht, who knows? When you get a little time alone on the old vessel, there's just nothing quite like it. It feels real good. Right now, though, I've turned the AC off to air out for one last eve. And I'm probably going to turn the AC back on because it is about 90 degrees. I have not flop sweat, but definitely clammy skin. Nothing that an ice cold bush light can't help me out with, though. So that's a nice little benefit. The refrigerator working like a champ. Not going to lie. It's kind of funny, actually, because Joseph, shout out to the El Capitan, going to meet up with him in just a couple of days. Well, he was typing in something about his refrigerator won't stay cold on the old internet, and my YouTube video about my little quick trick to temporarily, quote-unquote, fix a refrigerator aboard a boat popped up. It was the first one on the search, which is great. That's pretty neat. Felt kind of honored. And I've actually, when I look back at that, I kind of want to bring it up because, it was Charleston, South Carolina, 2018 that I was sitting aboard Sparrow and watching this dude go and pump out all the Freon, blow the whole system, and then replace it all. And he even said this might not be the this might not do it. There's no guarantees here. And obviously, yeah, he's getting paid, so no worries about that. But and it didn't work, I should say. I set sail for the British Virgin Islands and ended up 3, 4, 5 days into that trip in some pretty hefty weather situations. Nothing crazy, but, enough. And actually, the fridge shut down on me for a little while. And it was kind of, a little bit of a pain in the butt. That was where I figured it out. And that was where I was like, well, I'm out at sea. I got a couple pounds of bacon. I got ham. I got turkey. It's all frozen up in there. Now it's no longer frozen or it's starting to thaw. What the hell am I going to do? And yeah, that was when I don't know where the thought came into my head actually, but it was one of those things where it just sort of, it came into play. And let's just pulling this sucker up. How do I see? Oh, here we go. Comments. How many comments do we even have on this video? I just want to take a quick test to see if it actually helped anybody. Great share. I've never heard of the trick. So clever. That's genius. Well, yeah, but did it work? Thanks. I haven't had a fridge in a long enough time. Combo refrigerator, cool, brilliant. Cool, I'm on the fourth. My last one did this, but I also have two now. Sounds like, okay, yeah, giving your advice. That's great. Good tip. Woohoo. Superb. Wow, that's a superb temp repair. I truly appreciate learning about the self. No, genius breakthrough. I got the same system on my West Sail way down in New Zealand. Nice. Gosh, I know so many West Sailors now. Wow, fantastic. I've been without a fridge for 2 years. 1 pan of hot water. How easy was that? Appreciate that. It may not be long-term fix, but we now have cold beer. What? Oh, that's awesome. Who's this guy? Oh, they got one short video. Molly Big Boat on the rocks, 24 views. Interesting. Wow, that's so crazy. It helped. And you know what? It helped cool a beer. Oh, that's cold because my refrigerator's working. Absolutely brilliant. And it worked. Thanks. Bang. Look at that. Cool. We'll give it a go. Nice. I think you're getting ice crystals blocking it up due to moisture in the system rather than gunk. I don't need your, that's one of the things. And I understand, hey, you're just giving a little insight, giving your own little top tip or whatever. Take the video for what it is and walk away. Worked for me, thanks. Well, tried it, did not work. Well, it's bound to happen. What are you going to say? Genius. I've had trouble for over a year. Just went through your procedure and it works. Thank you so much. Quick fix. Great. Oh, that's so cool. So obviously it helped out a few sailors. The big thing here is that it costs so much money to blow that system out. And it's also one of those where it is one of those things where if you want to replace the whole refrigeration system, now you're talking in the thousands. I mean, it's ridiculous. Unless you want to get one of those coolers, but then you can't use your actual fridge. I don't know. It seems like a bit of a can of worms, if you ask me. I mean, it's, as much as I started this podcast off saying like, oh man, boats are great. They just, you hop on board them, you kick back, you relax. It eases your soul, fills you with the sense of adventure. I mean, I'm looking at my chart table over there. It's got a pith helmet on it, but besides that, it has a chart laid out, ready to plan adventures, look at past adventures. Sometimes, though, boats have a way of just making life so incredibly expensive and miserable. And, right now I'm kind of dealing with the yin and yang, where I'm trying to enjoy a little bit of Sparrow time because it's going to be another month or so before I get back on the boat and actually sail her. But I'm also worried about the future with this boat because we've got some in my life with what I'm trying to do. Unfortunately, when things are so lean as they often are in the summer, as far as jobs and gigs and stuff like that, it's hard to piece everything together and actually come out in the red or in the black. Sorry. Usually you're in the red during the summer and you're trying to kind of make things come back together in the fall. And having a boat that has to be moved and has to be like hauled out and all these expenses come in, that's where it gets a little dicey, a little nerve-wracking, a little bit of anxiety going on, but not too much. I mean, the nice part is I got great people, friends, ex-coworkers, people that I have worked with. Ex-coworker sounds pretty rough. People that I've worked with in the past. That's a way better way to say it. And everybody's kind of on board with trying to help me be able to get where I need to go, be where I need to be, and also do it with the opportunity to be able to work off a lot of bills and things like that, which is I don't know. It's not only helpful, but it's almost like a necessity sometimes. You can always start out your year really good, and then things have a tendency to slow down. But when you're kind of living month to month, it has a way of freaking you the frick out, man. When things get a little slow and a little lean and you're like, ugh, okay, hold on. But neither here nor there. Our game plan for the future couple of weeks and couple of months looks pretty solid, and we're gonna bust through this one. The fall is usually a time where the jobs really come out of the woodwork, and then also I tend to have I don't know. I don't want to say it's negative because I always try and stay as positive as possible. But I always, I get antsy. I get antsy when the calendar starts to thin out, and I'm sort of like, yeah. I don't know if it's fear of. It's definitely not fear of like having to get like a job, like a 9-to-5 full on, year round sort of thing. The trouble with that is I'm never going to stop trying to build this thing that I'm trying to do. And so, it might be one of those things where I get this 9-to-5 and I work for a few months, but then during that time, even though I'm working the whole time, I'm just going to be trying desperately to get back into the speaking and the coaching and all that sort of stuff. And, as soon as I can get enough of them booked together and back in to the point where I think, okay, maybe we can make a go of it again, then obviously I'm just going to bounce. And I don't want to do that to an employer. So obviously, places like up in Maine and everything, those are the key components because, you can run up there during the launch season or the haul out season. You can do that whole section a couple of months on either side, and you're working 60 hours a week, but that's good. You want to just work. I mean, it's what we did down in Fort Lauderdale back in the day when I was down there in my early days, cleaning engine rooms and stuff like that, doing day work in my early 20s. Holy cow. It was like, hey, dude, I want to work every single day until I drop, and then the next day I'm going to do the same thing because on April 18th or whatever the date was, I am out of here. So I'm going to make the absolute best of the time that I have right now. And in a lot of ways, sometimes it feels like those are the times where you're kind of trying to invest in yourself, if you will. And I think that's a very valid train of thought, or a valid way to think. It's a very productive way, but it's also, oh man, sometimes you're like, man, this is the last thing that I want to be doing. I mean, you can equate it also to exercise and working out and stuff like that, where you're sort of like, all right, well, I'm going to give myself 30 days where I'm going to do exercise for 30 minutes every day, and then every other day I'm going to do an hour. And I'm going to do it for 30 days, no questions asked, and I'm investing in the person that I will be 30 days from now. And then we'll see where we want to go at that point. And I think it's a fun challenge to throw down. And it's always interesting because the results, I mean, they speak for themselves. It really is. And I'm not just talking about the whole idea of like, exercise. Obviously that one, if you do any sort of exercise regime for 30 days and you're kind of like watching your diet, yeah, obviously you're going to see some pretty drastic results. But, in life as well, and in business and in all the endeavors that we want to take on, these opportunities are always sitting there like a platter. But oftentimes it seems like it's the stuff that we just don't want to do. I mean, in my case, how many pages I've written of this next book that I want to do? Absolutely zero. And I've been talking about that thing for quite some time now. And it's just one of those things where this comes up, and then I got to travel here, and I come up with 1,000 different excuses for why I'm not doing it. And, in the end, it is one of those things where I could say, well, you know what? No matter what's going on, barring me actually being out at sea on a vessel doing a watch schedule, I should be able to wake up an hour earlier, or, cut out an hour in the evening, something where I could at least try my best to do that, and just do it every single day and do it for 30 days and see what happens, But here we are, zero. And I hope that I can't imagine that would come to a surprise, or come as a surprise to anybody. But yeah, I mean, it just happens. Sometimes it's just like, just not feeling the flow, not feeling the creativity, not feeling anything. And again, these are all just stupid excuses. Like I have zero excuse for not crushing into this next book with a vigor, because, you know, again, going back to some of these podcasts that I've done where I've talked about this sort of stuff, all I'm doing is postponing when I finish this freaking thing and have it pumped out, and then have, you know, the possibility of, you know, a little bit more income coming in so that I can basically put it into Sparrow. All roads lead to Sparrow. Now, I don't know. I think some of my frustration at this point right now is coming from the longevity that it's going to take before I can go back out there to sea for like a good chunk of time. And, you know, unfortunately, even though I know, being in my late 40s is not the end of the world as far as getting old. It definitely is not. But at the same time, it is closing in on the times where it's not going to be so easy, both physically and, you know, I don't know, otherwise, to be able to go out and do these things. And I'm like, man, holy cow. Okay, so maybe I get a regular 9-to-5 job and we haul Sparrow out, put it on the hard, and I work for 2 years and save all my money as best as I possibly can. And then I go out and do another one of these trips and spend all that money. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like how many times am I going to do that? Because I've tried to do that 4 times now. And, yeah, it's interesting. So I don't know. I think that's where some of my frustration comes, because every once in a while I like things are going good and the gigs are piling up and I'm doing like talks and then I'm doing coaching and then I'm hopping on this boat and, you know, all these things are sort of coming together and you can see it add up and you're like, oh man, dude, if we can just keep this going, we're going to be good. Although, you know, thankfully, I've been let down enough by enough possible gigs and possible opportunities that I am no longer fooled. I never, ever let myself get into the zone of like that hope of, oh, this next one is going to be the launching pad. Nah, that's gone years ago. Years ago was the last time that happened. And, we're free of that thinking. It ain't, it's not about hope. It's about signing on the dotted line. Sometimes you do have to get a little bit like bing, 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 and things need to be done like sort of the proper way. And it's hard because I'm a dreamer. You know, I definitely like to ply through the possibilities, and I like to be positive and optimistic and think of all the things that could happen. I do not believe for 1 second just thinking about a goal means you're going to attain it, because I think it's more important about the work that you're prepared to put into it and the effort and all that sort of stuff. But I still think it's nice to think about those goals and I don't know, daydream a little bit, but again, ain't no hope. No way I used to do that, and I would get my hopes up and I'd tell people, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I just got this inquiry for this speaking engagement and this is going to be, and oh my gosh, this could be it, and da-da-da-da-da, and then poof, gone. Man, those presented some of the darkest times for old J-Rome, not going to lie. Those were the days. There were a couple of times where, especially during the COVID years, when we were teetering right on the edge of like, oh, we got to sell this boat. I got to sell this boat. I just got to get a regular job. I got to get an apartment. Like this is it. Knowing though that obviously I was gonna continue to try and go after my own goals and stuff. But the boat, you know, is one of those things where, as much as I love Sparrow, and Sparrow does allow me to live very cheaply in this crazy expensive world we live in, it's one of those things where the goal, I've spent so much time on this boat and I love this boat, but if I had to let go of the goal, which is to be able to have my own company, Sailing into Oblivion, where I coach and speak and sail and do all these sort of things, consult. Or I still own Mighty Sparrow. I would definitely go with the goal. I would have to, because, Sparrow could be gifted over to the right person, obviously, and sold at a nice discounted rate just to be able to offload it. And then, focus could be had elsewhere. And there's going to be other boats in my future anyway. So it's not like the end of the world for sure. But that time is not now. It's not even close, I hope. And we're just going to keep on plugging away and keep chasing after everything. And yeah, so we're kind of actually looking forward to the next little trip. It's actually not that little, I suppose, relatively speaking, but we've got to sail from North Carolina. We got to get up. We got to go like 100 miles to the northeast to Cape Hatteras, go around that, and then we're going to rip all the way up, hopefully to Sandy Hook. If the stars align, meet up with Justin, friend of the show. Shout out to Justin out there in San Diego, although he might be in New York now. And then do a quick day sail trip. And after dropping him off somewhere in New York City, or I don't know exactly where, we'd have to logistically figure that one out. Maybe we just get a water taxi. I don't know. Then it's off and up to Cape Cod. And after Cape Cod, I think we're going to take her up to Maine. We're going to haul out up there, do some big project action that needs to be done desperately on this vessel to brighten her up, make her seaworthy, and yeah, that would also be a good post-up spot for the opportunity if it presents itself to sail south, although we still haven't heard anything from the marina in Florida. So that might be off the table. I'm kind of thinking it probably is, which is a bit of a bummer because it was nice to be down there in Fort Pierce, but I think one of the can't afford the weekly rate down there, not even close. So that's probably not going to be an option. So the further south I will probably be able to get might be Charleston, South Carolina, if they're still doing some of the wheeling and dealing down there for the winter rates, which I don't know. Charleston could be a pretty fun town to hit up. I don't know. We'll have to sort of see. There's a few other places, but I am desperately in need of socialization, networking, and just fun with friends and people and other human beings, because as lovely as a lot of the burgs and places that I have holed up in have been, the small to nearly non-existent town in a desolate and quiet marina, that's just kind of getting a little thin as far as me enjoying the peace and quiet. Let's just say that. I'm getting a little antsy. I'm getting a little randy. I'm getting a little holy cow, life's too short to just be a hermit on a boat somewhere out in the countryside. Let's try and go out and enjoy ourselves and get into some trouble. I mean, criminy. We're not dead yet, J-Rome. Jeez Louise. So I don't know. It's kind of nice just talking through some of these things, and I hope you don't feel like I'm just blabbering on. We're not going to make this like a super long podcast by any means. We got a bit of a road trip tomorrow, going down to Beaufort, South Carolina. Going to meet up with some old friends there, and then we got the full-on nearly cross-country trip from Beaufort to Chicago with a pit stop in Indianapolis, if I'm lucky. We'll have to sort of see. That's a long trip, Beaufort to Indianapolis in one shot. I'm not a kid anymore, people. Gone are the days of the 26-hour straight-through solo rips. I still will never forget. That was one of the most lovely, insane trips I ever did from Alligator Alley, Miami, Florida, across and up I-75, that great, historic interstate freeway that takes you all the way from Florida to Michigan. And if you continue across it, it's going to take you right across the Mackinac Bridge. I shouldn't say it that way. Mackinac Bridge. I'm a Michigander. That's how we say it. And all the way to Sault Ste. Marie. It's quite a haul. I'll still never forget tunneling through the Appalachians, somewhere North Georgia, Tennessee area, and I was the only one on the road. It was like 3 a.m, no traffic at all, and just like brights on, and you're going through this tunnel of trees. Not a tunnel, but these walls of trees are on either side of you, and just it was absolutely amazing. And I was just cracked out on sugar-free Red Bull, and it was probably Red Bull actually at that time. And man, that was a lot of fun. I look forward to this next trip for sure. Although I can't show up being like, I can't see straight, because we're gonna hop on a vessel. Then we're gonna have one day to tune the rig, get things stoked, checked over, ready to go before the race cannon goes off sometime in the evening of the 27th. So I'm pretty excited. The weather forecast looks a little docile. I'm not going to lie. It looks like it's going to be one of those where we have a bit of a breeze, but it's probably going to die off. And we might be just floating around for the night and then waiting till it fills in the next day. But you know what? It's still a couple of days out. Forecasts have a tendency to lie, or at least maybe not lie. That's kind of intentional, I suppose. More like they just don't know exactly what they're talking about. They're not taking in all the factors yet. Soon enough, people, AI will be in there and able to dissect every single atom of oxygen, nitrogen, and what is it? Yeah, 21% oxygen, 79% nitrogen, and the rest. And they'll be able to take every single atom and analyze exactly what they're doing. Chaos theory. You're going to take the K out of the chaos. And before you say it, I do know it's spelled with a C, so don't worry about that. But yeah, that's it. That's a little update from old J-Rome. It is super, super hot down here. Holy cow. I think I'm going to have to kick that AC, but I got to bring my sails in. I got to bring a bunch of stuff down here. But should be a beautiful night. I've forgotten that even though we're not really near any big cities, but there are a couple medium-sized towns around here with a decent amount of light pollution. But boy, we still get those stars. And holy smokes, they are amazing. I do look forward to getting back up there to northern Michigan and seeing some crispy constellations and maybe even some northern lights. I don't know. Missed them all the last bunch that have blown up over the last couple of months where I've been up there. It's always cloudy, or it's hazy, or it's smoky. So we'll have to see. I'm hopeful. Always trying to stay positive. I guess that's the lesson learned and the message. No matter how down you get, how worried, how anxious, how things might not be working out, do whatever you can. Play whatever trick on your brain you can. Do anything in your power to try and stay a little bit positive. Usually it comes down to your perspective. Sometimes you got to change the goalposts. I don't know. Do whatever you can, though, because, boy, being negative, there is just, it's like an energy vortex being around negativity. And, people are just like, this isn't good, and man, I wish, and buzz, and all this. It's just like, wow, what in the heck? Like, we're alive. And the power of positivity, I think, is also one of those things that can be infectious, but sometimes it takes like extra to get. I think it takes a little extra positivity to get over and negate the negativity. And sometimes you just gotta cut and run if you have to, I suppose. But I say fight it, man. Stay and fight. Be as positive as you can. Try and bring and spread that joy into everybody who surrounds you, because you never know who might really need it. and who might really appreciate it even if they don't say it in the first place. All right, thanks for listening. We're going to have a couple cool shows coming up, guaranteed. We'll get back into sitting down with fellow adventurers, sailors, and everyday people. But thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thanks for sharing out the podcast. We are having a good month when it comes to the numbers and stuff. Try not to look at those too much, but can't help the old eyeball getting drawn over to that. So we're doing pretty darn good, and I appreciate that because it is all because of you. Thanks for listening, and until next time.